with Jeff Snyder.
What's the deal with the most violent year? J.C. Chandor's drama premiered at AFI Fest last night to largely positive reviews on the strength of its fantastic lead performances by Oscar Isaac and Jessica Chastain. The former Juilliard colleagues play Abel and Anna Morales, who are trying to take their heating oil business to the next level despite numerous obstacles in their path, including a district attorney planning to indict them for some shady accounting, as well as some mysterious thugs who frequently hijack the company's trucks, spreading fear amongst the drivers who look to Abel to protect them. Now, I'm hardly the first person to suggest this, but A Most Violent Year plays like a Sidney Lumet movie. It's set in New York in 1981, though the story plays out over one turbulent month rather than a full year. It's not a crime movie so much as it's a movie about choices and the struggle to stay true to those choices, as Abel prefers to talk through a problem rather than resort to violence, even when circumstances may call for, a physical response. And by the way, when there is violence in this movie, Chandor really makes it count. Now, in this movie, Oscar Isaac he dominates it. He owns the screen and delivers a commanding performance as the conflicted Abel Morales, who's in almost every scene of the movie. I've been a fan of Oscar's for years, long before he landed Star Wars, which I hope makes him the household name that he deserves to be. He got a lot of love for Inside Llewyn Davis last year, and deservedly so, but to me, this is his first real movie star role. In Llewyn Davis, he felt like a character actor who the Coens happened to cast as the lead. He played a sad sack schlub, a bit of a loser, if you will, whereas here he plays a winner, a guy who's determined to succeed at all costs. It's the sort of role Al Pacino might have played in the 70s, and I can't imagine anyone else playing it, including Javier Bardem, who was initially poised to star. Best Actor is a crowded category again this year, but Oscar has to be in the conversation once you see how he carries this film. It's a mature, confident turn that really opened my eyes to his versatility as a performer. Now, Oscar is matched every step of the way by Jessica Chastain, who plays the film's most interesting character, this sort of Lady Macbeth type with a knack for numbers and no qualms about taking matters into her own hands when it comes to protecting her family. More than one person at the film's after party told me that Chastain reminded them of Jennifer Lawrence in American Hustle, but I fail to see the similarities there. Anna is not prone to drama the way that character was. She's actually quite practical and level-headed, and I love that she's not afraid to put her man in his place as she stands beside him through thick and thin. Much has been written lately about Jessica Chastain's Interstellar contract preventing her from promoting A Most Violent Year, but you don't really have to work the awards circuit when a performance pops like this one does. I think she's a shoo-in for a supporting nomination over the much higher profile Interstellar, which doesn't give her nearly as juicy a role. For her part, Jessica Chastain has really no interest in campaigning for awards, regardless of the movie, which is kind of refreshing. As nice as it is to get FaceTime with the stars at events, the work should speak for itself. Speaking of work, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the excellent work done by everyone else on this movie. I'll start with cinematographer Bradford Young, who composed some gorgeous images in this film. I knew going into it that Oscar and Jessica would step up their game, so the single element that I actually came away most impressed with was the cinematography. Bradford Young also shot Ain't Them Bodies Saints, a movie I didn't really like, but found stunning, and Bradford does it once again. The cinematography in this movie is just aces. Chandor also enlisted his All Is Lost collaborator Alex Ebert to do the music for A Most Violent Year, and once again the Edward Sharpe frontman delivered the goods. Now the entire ensemble is also solid, particularly Elias Gabel as one of Abel's drivers. He doesn't have the name brand recognition of co-stars Albert Brooks or David Oyelowo or Alessandro Nivola, all of whom add rich flavors to the cinematic stew, but this guy is perfect in a key supporting role, and so is Catalina Sandino Moreno, who makes the most of her brief appearance as his wife. She has one scene where basically her and Oscar Isaac just speak in Spanish. It's quite powerful, actually. And Christopher Abbott from Girls and Ben Rosenfield from Boardwalk Empire also do really strong work in small roles. Now, Most Violent Year is going to be the 15th movie released by indie distributor A24 when it opens on New Year's Eve. It's the 12th film I've seen of theirs. I've loved The Spectacular Now, Locke, Tusk, and Laggies. And even when my taste differs on films like Spring Breakers, Enemy, Obvious Child, and Life After Beth, I trust A24 because the company's executives, they just have good taste. They've helped A24 establish an identity for itself as the company that gets it, you know? As soon as A24 picked up A Most Violent Year, I knew J.C. Chandor had done something right. You know, this movie's not going to be for everybody. I know of at least one walkout from last night's premiere, and there were some gripes about its pacing and the lack of big events, which I feel like, you know, everyone is expecting nowadays when they go to the theater. I just deeply enjoyed this character piece, which examines the true costs of doing business. With this movie, I feel like J.C. Chandor has finally cemented himself, in my book at least, as a director to be reckoned with, and I look forward to seeing what he can do with his next oil-based movie, Deepwater Horizon, starring Mark Wahlberg. A24 is going to have to work for it this award season, especially with certain PR restrictions on its most likely nominee, but I have a hunch this one is going to be in the mix across the board. If you party hard on New Year's Eve, wait a day or two and start your 2015 movie-going year off right. This has been What's the Deal with Jeff Snyder. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheInSnyder, and thanks for reading TheWrap.com.
What's the deal with Jeff Snyder?